All right, welcome back to Visual Text Analysis Part 2. This starts on page 54. We have already been looking at symbolisms, so we're actually going to move forward here to stuff that we really need to look at: the cave, attics, and basements, and how these are used symbolically. The dictionary definition here is very helpful, but you tend to think of these places as it mentions here, the place where the self and the ego unite, or a place where a person can have these deep conversations with oneself, to understand things about oneself, exploring the cave, the attic, the basement. These are all forms of self-discovery. The use of the basement as an embodiment of one's fears. And a great use of this device in the movie Fight Club. And let's go ahead and move past symbolism here. The picture prompts here, we are going to do these. Essentially, you're going to do a brief visual text analysis for each of these. What do these mean? What do you get from them? What's the message? Who might be the main audience for these? Okay, skip a couple of things here. This page is interesting. It goes over how filmmakers create symbols in films. So this is a deep dive on Quentin Tarantino. I'm a big fan, so that's what this page does. This part we do get into some interesting devices where it talks about shot and scale. Camera angle. Here we're looking at what are called high angle shots. These are kind of the classic high angle shots of Quentin Tarantino. You see from Reservoir Dogs, and Inglourious Bastards. A high angle shot will reduce the importance of the subject that we're looking down upon, or the camera is looking down upon, making them seem insignificant or less significant, taking power away from them in the scene. And these are some of Quentin Tarantino's famous low-angle shots. Now in low-angle shots, the camera is low, we're looking up high, we're looking at the character, and this creates the opposite effect. This creates powerful characters, creates respect, fear, awe, and we see it in all these examples here in Inglourious Bastards. The Pai Mei scene in Kill Bill and Reservoir Dogs. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is Pulp Fiction with Samuel L. Jackson there. Montages are also a device that filmmakers use. Filmmakers will use montages to show growth, passage of time, express a moral belief, introduce a character, highlight an emotion or a feeling, explore a character, study an idea, or show a dream. Many examples of these, a few will be referenced here in these pages here. There are different types of montages, specific types of montages. Do cover that because that is, do review that because that was on the quiz. Okay, when we look at photography, we're mainly going to look at a device of analysis. It's called the rule of thirds. And it essentially looks like this. It is as if you were drawing a tic-tac-toe table over an image, and you're then able to split this image up and analyze the significance of each part of the image. This is classic analysis. This is like analysis by definition. By definition, analysis is where we take something and we break it up into parts. We study each individual part, and then we're able to come up with a better understanding of the whole unified, in this case, image. The rule of thirds states that filmmakers and photographers know that our eyes are usually drawn to these places, so they tend to put significant details here. This part goes over some photography devices like motion blur, depth of field. Okay. In art, we cover just a couple things. Again, the photography and art sections are very brief. In terms of art, we see things like anamorphous. Anamorphous is a deliberate distortion, like we saw it actually on a previous page. And we see it here with this child. This child is actually not on a precipice about to fall into the depths of, the earth. None of that is actually there. There's actually a solid piece of ice, but it's been modified. I did come upon Optic. Now, if you are analyzing art, Optic is a great device to use. You can use this in any paragraph where you're analyzing a piece of art. Optic stands for overview, conducting a brief overview of the visual, looking at the parts, thinking about the title, like what does it suggest about the overall meaning, the interrelationships between the parts and the title, and the conclusion. All right, then we're going to, like I said, we're going to draw a conclusion based on the above steps, and that is Optic. Now we look at marketing and advertising. It's about informing, it's about persuading. These are things that go hand in hand with what we're already learning about. What we're going to focus on here are the strategies of advertising. So some of these are offering informational appeals, where they give you key facts about the benefits or the service. In this case, we have here donate blood, save a life, can save 3 lives, and they actually give us that. They give you this one here: blood donation will take only 1 hour. Someone needs blood every 2 seconds. So they give you 3 informational appeals in that very small ad. This one is humorous and old, but also uses the same type of appeal. We have emotional appeal. The emotional appeal is the use of sex, humor, or safety to sell. Right, these are very commonly used in advertising. You see sex and humor used in a lot of ads, like, say, for example, alcohol ads. Safety, for example, look at, say, Subaru commercials. You see it there. Other devices you'll encounter in advertising include testimonial, or the use of celebrity or authority. They lend their quote-unquote stellar qualities to the product, and this makes us think the product is better than it most likely is. Celebrity endorsement, though, does work on a sliding scale. The more someone endorses, the less we tend to trust them. The fewer things that someone endorses, the more we tend to trust them. And I use Colbert here selling pistachios because I was not aware of him selling really anything else. And this was like his, one of his, well, at that time anyway, one of his only national ad campaigns. We have other devices like the vague claim or glittering generalities, where it's colorful, it's interesting, but ultimately meaningless. Scientific appeal is the use of scientific proof or statistics. As in this example here, right, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Sensodyne. See it used here effectively. Good. And let's go ahead and skip ahead to the construction. One more section before that, graphic novels. Graphic novels Let's see. So a couple devices that we'll look at here are things like graphic weight. Graphic weight is when some images are more eye-catching than others. So through shading, the use of light and dark tone images, high contrast. Like in this page, you can see lots of graphic weight in basically every image. Right? There's graphic weight that distinguishes this character from his background, the monkey character here from his background, etc. Caricatures, or the use of facial expressions, are definitely a big thing to look for in all visual media. Then you have text and dialogue, which come in the form of captions, speech balloons. Let's see, so we have captions are here. These are things that people say. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Captions are the boxes. These would be like meanwhile. Speech balloon would be here. I should add the third one up here. This is a thought bubble, which is kind of self-explanatory. Someone is thinking something, and the author is expressing that. And then I designed an analytical model here called comics. And these basically gives you things to look for. In basically any situation where you have to analyze a graphic novel, here is some basic vocabulary that you might find useful. Look for contrast, look for expressed opinion of the author, mood, which is how it makes you feel as the audience or the reader, irony or humor, caricature or facial expressions, and symbolism. Alright, so let's look at how to write this essay. First thing you want to do is select a text. Think about its main idea. Does it have a main audience? You want to review the glossary of devices or film terminology. And then hypothesize, like what do you think it's about? And then what you want to do is look through scenes and try to find scenes and parts of that, say if it's a movie, for example, that support your interpretation. It's a good idea to watch it multiple times, or at least once, all the way through, where you write down the scenes that support and express your main message. Watch those scenes again to note the device or devices that are most used in those scenes or moments in the story. Then you want to organize your essay around the devices. You'll have a traditional introduction. The body paragraphs are around devices. So you would do one paragraph, say, on flashback. How does the director use flashback to express the message? Next body paragraph might be on montage, right? How does the director use montage in these couple places to express the message or the main idea? Symbolism, and finish it off with costume. That would be 4 body paragraphs. That would be enough. How does the director use costumes to express a message? You'd have a conclusion. We'll get to the conclusion. A sample thesis for this essay might be something like, in the film Fight Club, director David Fincher uses montage, symbolism, aerial shots, and framing to effectively communicate his message that audiences should question reality. It gives you a breakdown of your body paragraph here. And it goes over the made device. Strategy, I should say. So this is an analytical strategy good for all visual texts. When you're analyzing, if you answer these questions, you will have done a good job. How does the device communicate the message? A. How does the device affect the audience? D. What is the device? Perhaps define it. E. Is it effective? Do you feel like it gets the message across? And then do consult this page. It will go over conclusion options. Good. And the next couple pages, that'll go over basic outline, tips, and citation. That's it for Visual Text Analysis Part 2. Thank you.